Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time zone it is, whether you in the world, it is your Lore Saviour, with another unboxing video in such a short space of time. If you've got no idea what I'm referring to there, go and check out this video whenever you can to have another emotional unboxing video. Yes, we're going to get another... Yes, we're going to get all rolled up once more, because what I believe is in this box that is kind of on camera here is what I believe to be the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game and the Spider-Verse expansion book, which is seemingly terribly off-brand for the stuff that I usually talk about on this channel, which is the World of Darkness games, so Vampire the Masquerade, Wealth the Apocalypse, Wraith the Oblivion, etc. and so forth, other horror-related tidbits, general GM advice, and basically, as this year has gone on, just talking about TTRPGs that I like, which have been either horror or horror adjacent, or in the case of Pendragon, just completely fucking fantastical and great fucking roleplay. So those are the sort of things that we cover. So having something that's Marvel related, specifically the fact that it's owned by Disney and how this is sort of very anti what I do, I suppose. This might seem a little bit weird and puzzling for you lot. So for my regular viewers, I'm going to provide some context, but if you don't care about any of that, you're going to jump forward to later in the video where I'm actually going to be opening this box with the chapter stuff found in the description below, or to like scroll along or whatever. But I always think it's good to provide context to these sorts of things, especially when the fact that I've never really been the biggest superhero enthusiast. I'm obviously been aware of the likes of the X-Men, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four. I think as a nerd, that's just like part of the general nerd culture osmosis that you have very least have heard of them. I've never really been engaged with comics either. I don't think like the comic market is that fantastic in the UK. I could be completely mistaken about that, but it's not something that I've been particularly interested in, honestly. And I watch some of the cartoons, play the video games. I am a noughties kid, so I grew up with like both the 90s X-Men, like X-Men Evolution, I think it was, which is the slightly more edgy version, and the version of Rogue that people my generation tend to bust a nut over now. But of course, in relation to this video, Spider-Man. I really love Spider-Man. I have always loved Spider-Man. I've read actually a few of the Spider-Man comics. I read some of the Ultimate ones. I've read a little bit of Spider-Man Noir. I'm aware of like the 2099 through the video games and some of the more osmosis stuff with the more recent films. The animated one, Into the Multiverse, those sorts of things. Of course, I played the original PS1 game, Spider-Man 2000, it's often called, and Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, the often forgotten and yet somewhat inferior to the first one. I also love Ultimate Spider-Man. Basically, if there was a Spider-Man video game, I tend to play it. If there was a film, I watched it, a TV show, etc. As I said, I really love Spider-Man, and as an autistic person, Spider-Man was like one of those first special interests for me. Like, I can remember from a very young age, particularly with the PS1 video games, because I've always loved video games more than any other form of like nerd media. I would pretend to web swing about the garden and the front room, jumping off sofas and things. We had this like little brick structure in our garden that's like acted as like a barricade to what was intended to be like a barbecue area, and I'd climb onto this little barbecue thing, like just jump and just pretend to web swing. And when the Sam Raimi films came into existence and they were constantly setting like little web shooters, I really wanted those, just so I could pretend to be a bit more like Spider-Man and like pretend to web swing about. My mother seemed to think that I thought that I could actually web swing with them, but she just ultimately drew a line at that because the web shooters would just have made a lot of mess, which is understandable but incredibly heartless. I jest, of course, because now as an adult I would probably be a bit hesitant having something like that because of the mess that it makes. But yeah, I've always had my ear to the ground with all things relating to Spider-Man. I wanted to be Spider-Man as a kid, which isn't too outlandish for anyone to say, I think. And I make a point of mentioning that because I've never really had that many idols or heroes in my life for one reason or another. I've never particularly looked up to anybody, but as a kid, as a young teenager, Spider-Man was always really relatable and still pretty relatable to this day. Because, you know, he was for the everyman. He stood up and he fought against minorities. You know, I thought like Spider-Man would protect me. My mother told me something that apparently that I said, that she would find somebody like Spider-Man who would come and protect, sort of thing. So, you know, just a sort of lovely little sweet shit like that. But in relation to this video with the Spider-Man stuff, I was aware of the Marvel Multiverse RPG for some time, which is obviously produced by Marvel, and obviously owned by Disney. and I didn't really have that much of an interest in it because, again, not really into superheroes. Obviously, Spider-Man's in the core book because I had a look at it once, but it wasn't something that really spoke to me. Not something I was particularly all that interested in, despite the fact that being able to play as Spider-Man in this thing would have been really cool. But then I found out fairly recently, I think a video on YouTube just came up because, algorithms and whatnot. I watch a lot of TTRPG stuff, and fairly recently I was just engaging with older Spider-Man just because nostalgia reasons, to try and give me something to feel anything about other than fucking depressed. Not a particularly healthy mental response, but it's all I've got at the moment, for better and for worse. It sort of then came up that there was an expansion book for the Marvel Multiverse called the Spider-Verse, which allowed you to explore all the different possible Spider-Men that they've included in this book, because they're fucking hundreds of the fuckers, and including different mechanics and expanding certain powers and whatnot, so you could essentially create your own Spider-Man with its own multiverse and mechanics and things regarding to that. And when I saw that, that's when my ears sort of went up and my excitement for the game just suddenly skyrocketed. And I really wanted to play this game, even if I just do it solo, which I will talk about later on in this video. Just being able to engage with this pastime of mine, being able to do something that I wasn't really able to do properly as a kid, because, yeah, as I said, I love playing the Spider-Man games, and it's just made me feel really excited that how the web swinging has evolved through the years. Again, Spider-Man PS1, we could only web swing twice, very clear buildings, the fog. Even as a young age, it was very fucking clear to see what was going on with that. Or poison, or however the video game describes it. Ultimate Spider-Man and Web of Shadows was, for ages, peak Spider-Man, because you could actually control properly, where you would actually web swing. And then, obviously, with Insomniac's Spider-Man, web swinging is just fucking perfect. I haven't played the Miles Morales ones, and I haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet. I'd like to, but I don't have a PS5, so I can't really invest in that, although I could do the Miles Morales one on PS4, but I'll get around to it at some point, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, I'm playing somebody's iteration of Spider-Man. Each of them got their own personalities, different takes on things, different age groups, etc. But they were never anything that I could do. None of them were autistic. It's kind of technically illegal for Spider-Man, well, Peter Parker specifically, to be bisexual or gay, and if you've got no idea what I'm referring to, there's a very interesting video I watched recently that talked a lot about that. That's going to appear in the corner there. Go and check it out. Which the gay bisexual stuff doesn't really affect me much as a teenager, although I have talked about feeling very suppressed and repressed in those emotions, and there were just sort of little things that, while Spider-Man would stand up for me, sort of thing. It wasn't 100% like me. It wasn't autistic. They couldn't really attach myself fully to Spider-Man, which is probably another reason why I didn't have a lot of heroes or idols growing up, because there are not great representations of autism in the world. I just didn't have anybody to connect to or to aspire to be like. I mean, for some of my childhood years, I wanted to be like my mother, but yeah, that's a different sort of conversation I should really be having with a therapist. Anyway, so with the existence of the Marvel Multiverse RPG and this Spider-Verse RPG, I could be my own iteration of Spider-Man. Wholeheartedly, it could be bisexual, it could be autistic, it could be fucking depressed. I joked a little bit about this on Blue Sky, somebody who becomes the Spider-Man is feeling really depressed and they just get their kick, as it were, fighting crime. And making other people happy, which again is the sort of thing that I do. Not fighting crime, obviously. No, I can't do that. But I could. That's the real beautiful joy of role-playing games. It just offers a lot more creative freedom in that regard, which just sort of made me feel very excited. So then we get to the point about how I actually came across purchasing it, because I don't particularly wanted to buy it from Marvel and give Disney any money, but I really wanted to play this game. So I tried my luck and see if they would send me a review copy. I've seen that there's a couple of other people on YouTube who didn't have a huge subscriber base, who had just made their whole channel based around this, and they had received PDF, demi-plane, and physical copies of these books. I thought, well, I've got a larger audience, I've got a lot more to talk about in the TTRPG sphere, maybe I'll try my luck and see if they'll reach out, wanted to diversify things a little bit. I haven't heard back from them. I don't know whether it's because they're just inundated with just practically everything else that they deal with, or they had a look at my channel and think that I'm not a good fit. I don't know. I don't really care, because I then found a seller on eBay that was able to sell me a copy of this as well. And it comes from the same seller. Both books come from the same seller, so I didn't have to wait too long, which is nice. And I also purchased the special Marvel dice, or a variant of them, I should say, from a seller on eBay as well. I would have actually liked to included this in the unboxing video, but they arrived yesterday, the 2nd of October 2025, in the year of our Lord Telos. And when I went to go and access the footage for what I'm doing now, the video got corrupted, and obviously I can't reopen something, and I've thrown away the box. So I'll put up a picture somewhere when I get to the dice bit specifically, which again, you can go and check out the chapters below. But without further ado, I think it's about high time that we open this box and have some appropriately spider-themed music in the playing in the background. Now, I did forget to censor out the barcode and the address and whatnot before I brought this box up. I have no real means of doing that now, so hopefully I'm going to have to try and organise the unwrapping element here. I also didn't bring my prestigious box opening knife, so I'm going to have to do this old school and just like tear out some tape, and hopefully that the ASR box stuff is entertaining the same. Okay, so they've wrapped this all the way around with a nice bit of fucking masking tape. Also, when I was opening the dice for the little theme, I got weirdly Australian about with it, and it wasn't my intention, but my voice just went up and everything sounded like I was asking a fucking question. Which reminded me about that, because I said the word fuck, and they fucking say it swear fucking lot, don't they, mate? Fucking cunts. Probably another reason why they wouldn't send anything my way, because they swear worse than a fucking sailor. Anyway. So yeah, I don't usually do my unboxing videos like here. I usually set things up in my front room, you get a better look at the box. But I was actually setting this stuff up here to record my solo actual play of the Cyberpunk Red, which hasn't come out yet, so I can't link it to any parts, but keep your eyes peeled for that. And as I'd set everything up here to record that, it didn't make much sense just to wait to where I could do things in the Lore by Night living room and just do things up here. It's a little different, I suppose, just change it up a little bit. Right, okay. Can I just tear this bit up and just open it up? Oh, I can. Okay, so I can just open that up a little bit. Lovely stuff. Okay, got more papery cardboard shit. And it's within another box. I fucking passed the parcel. Great fucking British pastime, innit? Right, let's see if we can get this cut out. Quite heavy little box. This one doesn't have any address on it, so it doesn't really matter. And it's interesting how this is all done. Like, this is all sellotape like that, but it's going to be completely fucking useless when I just tear that thing up and down. But knowing my luck, I'm not going to be able to do this properly. Ah, well, luck is in my favour. I managed to do it all. Yeah, boy! I see them both. Right, they're fucking brand new as well, because, you know, like, they will show you the Spider-Man verse, because that was one on the top. There we have the Spider-Verse Marvel Multi-Role-Playing Expansion. Looks like that on the front. Looks like the back. I haven't actually seen the fucking back yet, so you actually saw it just before me. So who do we have Spider people on the front, just to show that I'm not a casual fan? I kind of am, because I don't read the comics. We have Spider-Man India, I'm presuming that's Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Hand, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider, Miles Morales Spider-Man. I don't know you. I'm presuming that's another Spider-Woman. Spider-Man Noir, which I discovered when I played Shattered Dimensions. And it came out just around the time that Arkham Asylum was doing really well, and people thought, oh, they just ripped that off because Spider-Man Noir. In Shattered Dimensions, you play as 4 different Spider-Man. 2099, Amazing Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Spider-Man Noir. And what all into very traditional web-swinging action. Obviously, that one's all futuristic, that one's like more comic booky style. Ultimate Spider-Man has you wear the symbiote suit, which is interesting because it's not really a huge feature in Ultimate Comics. With a lot of combat focus, like raging out with the symbiote, because it's now a thing that the symbiote makes you really angry, even though that wasn't the initial intention. That's a carryover from the animated series when it was like an analogy for fucking addiction. See, I do know my shit. Spider-Man Noir's gameplay, like, was all like black and like sepia tone, like 90s 20 stuff. And it was a stealth section, and you couldn't fight all that much because you have like fuck all health. And I don't actually think Spider-Man Noir can actually web swing. I might have just made that up. In the comics, I'm aware that he actually carries a pistol with him. I haven't read the comic. I'd love to read like the full collection, because some of the things that they do with Goblin and Vulture specifically, like that became a fucking horror game. Like seeing how they developed Vulture, who you usually associate with like being very high tech, flying around in a wingsuit. But in Noir, he's a fucking cannibal. He eats Uncle Ben. Like that's the main arch villain there, alongside Goblin, who's like this big like crime boss sort of thing. So yeah, that's what's going on with that one. I just really like to like get my hand on. I just love the design as well. It's like it's so cool and sleek. And of course, on the back, as we've mentioned, we've got Miles Morales, Electro, Sandman, Doc Octopus, and Craven the Hunter. And I think just above that, with these little arch things there, there might be Vulture, but I'm not too sure. That's the expansion book. And then we have the main core book, the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, with the Spider-Man on the front. I wonder if I can actually get around to naming it. Actually, Spider-Man, various Spider-Man people, all on the back. We've got Spider-Ham and Goblin, 2099, Spider-Gwen Noir, who wears a trilby fedora sort of thing. Obviously different multiverses and whatnot. Can I name everyone on the front just so that I can know some Marvel stuff? We've got 4. Wolverine, the female equivalent to the 2 claws, Sabretooth, Spider-Man Doc Ock, Black Panther, Thanatos, woman person who's got Marvel in her name. Who's up there? Some robot thing, Iron Man, and I'm presuming the antagonist to Iron Man. As I said, I don't know a lot about Marvel. I know that is like 4 related because I've seen screenshots from the fucking 4 films. So yeah, as I said, I am not the biggest Marvel aficionado, but I know a considerable amount more with Spider-Man, and that's cool. The Spider-Man patch thing's got the little like Spider-Man head logo thing there, which is nice. I have to say that these are very nice quality, as one would hope for fucking Marvel, you know, with their comics and everything. So I'm going to look through Spider-Verse first, of course. Which I tend to do, just flick through the artwork just to give a good look over. And in recent unboxing, we did have a little sniff of the material. And there's kind of that newish chemical smell there. It's kind of faded, probably because it's been opened already. But this is very nice quality. Obviously, the artwork is fucking fantastic because they've got like donkey's years worth of artwork to choose from. Some of it is clearly bespoke to this because the instances are all like rolling dice or whatever. And just flicking through and so happen to open up on powers for spider powers. Where is that? There. Okay. Camera angle's funny, innit? Jump 1 to 3 ranks, vary, spider dodge, spider form, spider sense, spider strike, venom blast. Oh yes, because that's something else that the expansion does. It includes the symbiotes and the whole Clone War stuff, which I know snippets about, but not a huge amount. Yeah, this looks really cool, honestly. So how does it work? Well, the multiverse uses... Oh, that's a cool illustration. Sorry to interrupt myself. Werewolf. I have no idea who that is, honestly. Artwork by Takashi Okasaka and Edgar Delegado. I probably just pronounced those names horrendously, so which I apologise. And I said horrendously incorrectly as well. It's cool that they credit the artists there. I don't like the one downside to that, in that if there's a piece I don't like, I will just try and avoid you like the plague. Yeah, but how does the game work? Oh, honestly, I'm not entirely too sure. It uses the Paul D6 system. It's called the 616 system, which is a reference like to the main Earth, because the different universes all have a different Earth name. And from my remembrance, it's the fact that it's some bespoke artwork, I feel. Well, it feels bespoke anyway, because it's like Deadpool playing a fucking board game of some description. There's some things earlier on of them, but I think it's a Fantastic Four rolling dice. Yeah, oh, there we go. We got Thing, Beast, Captain Marvel, is that her name? I think that's right. Nick Fury and She-Hulk all playing the game together, which is really cool. So yeah, how it works, it's a Deepal 6 system, 616, main Earth, blah blah blah. I think it is that you're looking for 6s, or like 5 to 6 or 4 to 6 or something. And then you have like a Marvel die, which if that lands on a 1, depending on the circumstance, it's like a critical failure, critical success. In fact, as I've got the book here, I might as well just like read that basically out to you. Roll D616, apply the relevant ability score, compare the total to the target number. Oh, they're fantastic failures, a fantastic, ultimate fantastic roll. Yeah, if you get 2 6s and then a Marvel thing, it's a ultimate fantastic roll. And then if it's 2 1s and the Marvel thing, it's a fantastic failure. As I said, not entirely familiar with it, which is different to the other things that I've looked at in these unboxing videos, but that's the whole fun of learning a new game. I will be able to learn fairly soon. And I think this is actually a good portion to actually talk about the dice a little bit. They do have their own bespoke dice. Usually it's red and white, you know, like the Marvel logo colours, which will like appear somewhere, probably over there, camera-wise, because I think that's where we've got the most visible space at the moment. And I did want to get those because, you know, it's like the default set, that's like the Marvel way, as it were. But for some reason, those dice are really fucking expensive. Like, we're talking like nearly 30 quid, and, you know, as much as I like collecting dice, and I've got a whole fucking big-ass bag filled with dice, and another bag somewhere with some bigger dice that I call my ball bag, and a bunch of D10s, so like World of Darkness games over there, I don't think paying more than 15, 20 at a push for dice is reasonable. So what I was resorting to do is buy the X-Men set, which is cheaper, which has a variation of the colour scheme, so rather than red and white, we have yellow and blue, you know, that classic 90s, like, OG, well, OG's up to 90s, I suppose, and a bit beyond. X-Men colour their uniform. So the blue one here is like the Marvel dice, and the one, I don't know how well that's going to appear, because this never focuses particularly well, but you kind of see that says Marvel. The light doesn't do it a bit service because it's not bright turquoise as it makes that out, and then you've got the yellow one, which is like a regular dice, just got all these little cool little zigzaggy things on them as it does on the Marvel dice, just like an impact, pow sort of thing. And these dice are notably bigger than your regular D6s, so this is a regular D6 that I have, and if I just try and hold them up side by side, you can see the Marvel die, okay now it's focusing, is notably bigger than the regular one, which I think is pretty cool, because I get the feeling that this is sort of marketed towards teens and young adults, or at least people who are not all that familiar with TTRPGs, and, you know, it's just a bit easy to deal with for a kid to have something like large and chunky. And I like large and chunky things too, partly because I've got small fucking hands. Like, I just think it's cool, and I couldn't help myself, you know, because I've got this little obsessive interest at the moment with Marvel stuff via Spider-Man, and I wanted to like really invest in it. So again, found that through eBay, and having just got that out, I've just noticed there's a dent in the fucking corner of that book. Felt it, yeah, that's taking a bit of a fucking beating. Not the end of the world, but noticeable enough to comment upon it. What's the pricing on that? $60 US, 75 Canadian dollars. It's not what I paid for them. Try halving that. So I suppose it like basically bought one, got the other one free. Anyway, let's now have a bit of a look at the Spider-Man one, which again I'm so fucking stoked to get my fucking hands on. And apology to like the camera positioning, just me moving about here. That's what I typically do up here, so if it annoys you, cope. Hey, they referenced the meme. Hey, but now I don't know who many of these are. We've got obviously Scarlet Spider, like there with a hoodie. I mean, they all look the same, as a bit difficult to notice like that. I don't know who the one with the cape is. I'm presuming there's a variation of Spider-Woman. There's one with some teeth. I don't know. I don't think it's like meant to be any specific Spider-Man. Oh, I did just saw it's for the fucking clones. So it doesn't really matter, I suppose, at this point. Obviously, I can read up about that and inject as much or as little as I want. We've got Hallows Eve there, and that Spider-Man has powers, I believe, of a telekinetic nature. Oh, that's cool. They're really going back with the artwork here. That's cool. I would not be surprised by the end of this year and only next year you start seeing me post pictures on social media where I'm starting to collect fucking Spider-Man comics. Of course, my favourite villain of all time, or anti-hero I guess, Venom. And Carnage, of course. I've always loved the symbiotes. I think that that's just such a cool idea. Then again, I'm a queer person, so obviously I'm inherently a monster fucker. Now that's a cool design. I think that's Gwenom, given the hood thing that's going on there. Oh, it says Gwenom down there. Symbiotes in the Earth-6-5, the home of the universe of Ghost Spider, work a bit differently than they do in Earth-6-6. Venom symbiote in Earth-6-5 is a swarm of spider-like creatures that can morph together and change shape, colour and so on at its user's will. It is created by Dr. Elsa Brock, who exposed radioactive spider isotopes derived from spidery alien parasites to the serum that killed the lizard. I won't carry on reading because there's quite a lot here, which is actually something that I find really comforting as somebody who's coming into this not with a lot of Marvel's knowledge. Like, I know a bit about Spider-Man, about here and there, and that version of Spider-Man where he basically is keen off Mary Jane because they're basically fucking raw. Yeah, comics in it. But I don't know a huge amount. Like, as I said, I'm not an avid comic reader, so there's a lot of information. So if you're a casual fan but want to play the role-playing games, you have a means of doing that, which I think is really fucking cool. They're passionate about what they do, and obviously they want people to fucking play the game, and I'm really excited to fucking play a version of Spider-Man, and I mentioned earlier on I was going to be doing an actual play, and if you don't know what that is, for whatever reason, it's basically, usually it's in a group format where you have loads of people that come together and they play a TTRPG together as normal, but they record the process and upload it or stream onto YouTube. In rare instances it's done like in a physical space, but more often than not it's essentially just recording a Discord or Skype call and then doing some fancy overlay stuff to make it look semi-presentable. You also get them for like solo actual play stuff, so solo TTRPG play isn't as common as well. There's some notable ones such as Me, Myself and Die by Trevor Devell, a Canadian voice actor. My buddy Turk of the Grouch Couch has done quite a few of them. He's done a really cool one for Walking Dead Universe RPG. And of course you've got my one, Playing with Thyself, where I've taken previously and historically World of Darkness titles, made my own solo rules for them, and then you basically use the seasons as advertising for said homebrew. As I mentioned earlier on, I'm currently recording Season 3, I can count, where I'm playing Cyberpunk Red, because they recently released some solo rules for that game, so I'm just going through that. As I said, I set up everything to record the first episode. Actually, I did character creation fairly recently, as in this video, the 3rd of October 2025, the year of our Lord Talos. And I think Season 4 will be focusing on being a version of Spider-Man and playing through this game. That's what I really want to do at the moment. But when is that going to be? Honestly, I'm probably going to... It's probably going to be late this year or early next year, as we're nearly at the end of 2025 anyway, so... December, possibly January, but this is like something I want to do next on the channel. Even though it's not horror related, I do talk about Cyberpunk occasionally, which does have some horror elements in it, admittedly. That's what I really want to do, because I just want to have fun with it, you know, not worry about like semi-promoting someone else's work or my own work. I want to do something just for the sake of me doing it. I know it's not going to get a lot of views or attention for it, but I'm trying really hard this year and beyond to just to do things that I want to do that also I think will be helpful and engaging for people. But this one is purely self-serving. I want to do this and just show off my fun and enthusiasm for Spider-Man, learn how to play this game and just play it solo. Are there solo rules in this game? No, I will be using something known as the Mythic GM Emulator. Apology for the mirror wobbling noises. This is a book by Tanner Pigeon that allows you to typically play TTRPG solo, but obviously with its tables and whatnot and its rules you can actually use it to plan campaigns and one-shots, which I have done. Again, video up there with an actual example of me doing this, and I'll have a review coming out of this book fairly soon, which will be fun, which looks a lot more what it can and can't do well and don't, etc. and so forth. But yeah, that's what this year will bring after Cyberpunk. I'm going to be learning how to play the Marvel Multiverse TTRPG, playing as a Spider-Man, creating your own version of Earth, using Mythic, just to have fun for the sake of having fun, not for anything horror-related, not because I'm trying to promote something. That this is just something that I really want to do, and I'm even going to include like some music from the old video games, like running in the background, kind of like what I've done here. Just for a bit of fun, have some like web shooting sound effects and spider senses. And this version of Spider-Man is going to be my version of Spider-Man. It's going to be done my way. It's going to be bisexual. He's going to be autistic. It might lean into like some memey stereotypes at the moment because the whole autistic community, whilst being a little bit worried about the whole shit that's happening in America, we've all just been fucking laughing at Trump and what's his fucking phrase, like saying that the cause of autism is paracetamol, even though it's incredibly harmful to science and women. Violent, dare I say. We've sort of been dealing with that with fucking humour, as is the rest of the world. So it might lean into something in that direction, like he ingested paracetamol laced with radioactive spiders. My spideytism is stimming. Yep, that's what we're going to do. And yeah, I'm just going to have fun with it. So yeah, if you're looking forward to that, do let me know in the comments below, because at least then it'll know that I'm not completely wasting my time. Have you tried out the Marvel role-playing uni game? That was completely done in the wrong way around, but you know what I was trying to say. Have you played this game? Have you collected the other books? Because there's one for the Avengers, and there's one for the X-Men as well, against the dice. There's a couple of Avengers as well. Just let me know your thoughts and opinions about the Marvel Multiverse RPG down below. Are there any of the other books do you think I'd like? Because I know that Spider-Man has often crossed paths with the X-Men, or at least Peter Parker does. I'm not too confident with the other things. So if you think that's going to be a good resource of that, do let me know, because there's going to be some time where I'm going to be thinking and brewing and like coming up with different ideas. So if you think that book's going to work well with this, do let me know in the comments below. Have you got the dice? Do you enjoy them? Are there any other Marvel things that you think I might look into that I would enjoy? Let me know all those things in the comments below. Now, fairly recently, Marvel actually deployed all of their games. Well, the Marvel Multiverse game and the expansions on Drive-Thru-RPG. They've only got the one TTRPG at the moment, to my knowledge. Anyway, the most recent Multiverse games have been deployed on Drive-Thru-RPG, so I'll leave links in the description below if you want to fancy purchasing the PDFs for those. There's also things on Demi-Plane for you to go and look at as well, which I think is pretty neat. Can't provide that there, but with Drive-Thru-RPG, if you purchase them with those specific links, I get some of the money back because I'm an affiliate on Drive-Thru-RPG, and that sort of coinage is able to provide awesome content like this and to explore a load of other cool TTRPGs, because I've got a huge stack of libraries here, and I'm sort of like, this room is being taken over with TTRPG shit. But yeah, that would really be awesome if you can do that. If you can't, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm not going to web you up and force you to do that. It's also cool because it means that you get books and shit, I get books and shit, and you get content for free, which is absolutely amazing because it's in your favour, really. Like, there's no harm in that. It's totally optional. If you can, that'd be great. If you can't, that's also fine. But what you should definitely do regardless is give the video a little cheeky little thumbs up, subscribe to the Lore by Night channel, and share this with any and everyone who loves what I do. And I'll see you on the next upload, wherever that may well be for you, true believers. Until next time, Excelsior!